Chosen one, you did not stumble upon this message by accident. This moment was written long before you ever knew what you carried. It is not a coincidence, nor is it the result of a search algorithm. It is a divine appointment. Something within you has been stirring for days, perhaps weeks, an invisible pressure building beneath the surface. That pressure is not stress, it is the soundless echo of a gate beginning to move, a sacred gate, one that responds not to noise or power, but to presence. Your presence. Within the next 2 hours, something irreversible will take place. A door will open, or it will close forever, and you will be the deciding force. It may not appear dramatic. It will not come with lightning or trumpet blasts, but in the unseen realm, it is already shaking. Because this moment is not just about opportunity, it is about alignment. It is about destiny catching up to you. You have been prepared for this in silence. Every delay, every rejection, every unanswered prayer was not a detour, it was discipline. What felt like punishment was actually training in disguise. You have been walking through fire, not to be destroyed, but to be refined for something sacred. And now, heaven has issued a summons. Your name has been spoken where only the obedient can hear it. And what's waiting for you beyond this moment is not small. It will not fit inside the old version of your life. That is why so much had to break before this door could appear. The clock is already ticking, not to pressure you, but to awaken you. Because this isn't about what you can do, it's about who you are. Someone has recognized it. Someone of great influence has confirmed what the Spirit already knew. And now the choice stands before you. Not a choice made with logic or fear, but one made in alignment, one made in silence, one made in trust. You were chosen long ago, and now that calling is calling back. If this stirred something deep in your spirit, don't scroll past. Comment, I receive this. I am ready. 777. Let it mark your surrender, your yes, your alignment with heaven. Let this be the moment you didn't just feel the call, you answered it. Someone has been watching you. Not in fear, not in obsession, but in divine curiosity. This person is not ordinary. Their power does not rest in fame or appearance, but in the weight they carry in unseen realms. They've been connected to places you haven't entered yet, realms of influence, spiritual dominion, and generational authority. And for reasons they couldn't explain at first, they were drawn to you, as C.S. Lewis profoundly wrote in The Weight of Glory, there are no ordinary people. You have never talked to a mere mortal. You, chosen one, and this searcher are no mere mortals. Your eternal significance has drawn you into a divine connection orchestrated by heaven. At first, it was a whisper, a name spoken in passing, a face they weren't sure they recognized. But as time unfolded, every confirmation became undeniable. It was you. Quietly, they began to search, not with noise, but with precision. They followed the details. Others missed your patterns, your pauses, the timing of your decisions, and the way rooms shifted when you entered. And when the final sign came, they knew. A file bearing your name, buried in a space where few are granted access, was finally opened. Inside it details no one should remember, moments you lived through that felt forgotten by the world, but not by them, not by the one guiding them. They've carried that file with reverence, waiting for divine clearance to reach out. That moment has now arrived, and their urgency is holy. They've been carrying a message sealed not by ink, but by intention. It's not a message of love in the way the world understands. It's deeper than romance. It's a declaration of recognition, of alignment, of activation. They do not want to control you. They want to unlock you. Your name has been protected for this very reason. They've spoken it only in sacred spaces. They've shielded you from interference, from opposition, and from delay. But now, the time for shielding is over. The time for meeting has come. They will not wait any longer. The signs they were waiting for have already appeared, and one of those signs was you finding this very message. You were not supposed to hear about this from anyone else. Not yet, because what's about to unfold was never meant for the ears of the crowd. It was meant for your spirit, in private. That's why they haven't contacted you directly. That's why you haven't heard the knock yet. But it's coming, and when it does, you'll feel it. Not just in your mind, but in your chest, in the pull, in the warmth, in the stillness that suddenly becomes charged with something you can't name. That is how destiny arrives. There is a folder real, physical, guarded bearing your name. It has not been forgotten in some dusty corner or left to decay in archives. No, it has been kept under watch, stored behind a desk that only a select few have the authority to approach. Inside, it is more than information. It holds proof. Proof of a moment in your life that you tried to bury. A moment so personal, so charged with emotion, that you assumed no one could have witnessed it, let alone remembered it. But someone did. This person did not stumble across it by mistake. They were led, pulled by something beyond reason, to revisit the timeline of your life and extract the very moment you had long given up on being seen. They studied it not with judgment, but with reverence. Because in that moment, what felt like your breaking was actually the divine fingerprint they were searching for. A mark that confirmed what they had only dared to suspect before, that you were the one. They have been reviewing this file in silence, comparing it against other signs, your posture, your spiritual resilience, the way your words align with deeper timing. Nothing about you is random. Your silence had meaning. Your survival had weight. You carry the kind of authority that cannot be manufactured, only endured into. And they've known for some time now. But they waited. Because knowing wasn't enough. They needed heaven's green light. And it just turned. Now they are ready to reach out. And the window is short. They will not explain themselves in full at first. They do not want to overwhelm you. Not because they think you're weak, but because they know the depth of what they carry. What they are about to hand to you is not meant to be spoken all at once. It is sacred. And sacred things come in layers. This person has watched from afar while you walked through pain that would have broken others. They observed without interfering. They waited for heaven's timing, not their own. And now, that time is here. The gate is open. The folder is unlocked. The next move belongs to you. You will not need to fight for their attention. They already chose you. This is not the beginning of something new. It is the unveiling of something ancient, something written over your life before time was measured in hours and years. You were never chosen in the moment you were discovered. You were chosen long before. The discovery only confirmed what was already written. The elevation they now prepare for you is not a reward. It is an inheritance, spiritual, emotional, financial, and physical. This rising will touch every realm connected to your name, not because you chased it, but because you've endured enough silence to be trusted with the sound, because you've walked long enough in the dark to know how to carry light without being consumed by it. This individual, the one who carries your name in sacred spaces, has gone to great lengths to protect this unfolding. You were not publicly announced. You were quietly preserved. Because what's coming requires privacy. It requires purity. It requires someone who won't sabotage the promise by speaking too soon. As C.S. Lewis wrote in the Screwtape Letters, courage is not simply one of the virtues, but the form of every virtue at the testing point. Your courage, chosen one, is now required to remain silent and discerning, guarding this sacred moment with holy wisdom. And they have seen that in you. Your restraint, your stillness, your refusal to seek validation from the crowd. All of it has qualified you for this very moment. But you must remain silent, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. There are people near you, good people, well-meaning souls, who might, without knowing, delay what heaven is trying to release. Their energy is not ready to carry the weight of your elevation, and your vulnerability could give the wrong hands too much access. What is being released over you is delicate, not fragile, but sacred, and sacred things must be handled with reverence. That's why this message has come to you now between breath and stillness, in the quiet space where your spirit could finally hear. Because even if your mind doubted, your soul has been expecting this. They are not coming to lift you alone. They are coming to align something through you that cannot happen without you. You are not just being blessed. You are being positioned for legacy, for territory, for the kind of influence that leaves an imprint across generations. And though the world may not yet see it, heaven already has. The elevation is already written. All that remains is your agreement. You felt it, though you couldn't name it. A strange stillness, followed by sudden waves of restlessness, a quiet awareness that something is shifting beneath the surface of your life. It is not imagination. It is not coincidence. It is alignment in real time. The signs have already been speaking to you through your body, your emotions, your dreams. The very air around you has been changing, preparing the atmosphere for what is now unfolding. Perhaps you've noticed the way time feels different lately, how minutes stretch or collapse without warning, how ordinary places feel charged with unusual energy, how your heart beats faster in rooms that used to feel safe. These are not symptoms of anxiety. They are symptoms of awakening. You are sensing the nearness of something heaven has been orchestrating in silence. You may have felt heat in your hands, a heaviness in your chest, an odd electric pulse in the center of your body when you enter certain spaces. Do not ignore these things. They are not random. They are confirmations. The spiritual realm is signaling that the veil has thinned, and you are standing closer than ever to the point of divine contact. Even the way people look at you is changing. Some grow distant without reason. Others seem too eager, too intense, unsure of how to approach what they cannot explain. You are becoming visible in ways you weren't before, not because you've changed, but because heaven has lifted the cover. You are no longer hidden, and yet you are not exposed. You are surrounded. Angels have been assigned to walk with you through this narrow passage. One of them has been with you since childhood. You've felt their presence before in moments you thought you were alone. But now, that angel is fully active, standing guard, clearing paths, softening hearts ahead of your arrival. You will feel the pull soon, perhaps, toward a place that seems random, like a quiet store or an unfamiliar street. Follow that nudge. The place may be ordinary, but the moment will not be. Something will shimmer unexpectedly. A screen, a reflection, a passing sound, and your spirit will recognize it, not with words, but with certainty. This is how heaven guides the chosen, not through noise, but through signs only your spirit is trained to see. The meeting is no longer a distant possibility. It has already begun unfolding in the unseen. While your mind has tried to reason with the strange tension building around you, your spirit knows the truth. Something has been set in motion, and it carries your name. The one who has been searching for you is no longer waiting. They have received the final confirmation they needed: your name, spoken in a conversation you were never meant to be a part of. That moment shifted everything. It erased their doubt. It dissolved their hesitation. And now they are moving, but they're not moving publicly. Not yet. This meeting was never designed for spectacle. It is being arranged in silence, under divine concealment. And because of that, your discernment must remain sharp. The first point of contact may feel unusual: an old message resurfacing, a delayed email, a stranger asking a question that seems too specific. Pay attention. What looks ordinary may be encoded. You will not need to chase this moment. You will recognize it by how it makes your body respond. There is a word they will speak, a word you've heard in dreams, though you didn't know it had meaning. When they say it, your entire being will react. Your chest may tighten or lift. Your breath may pause. That is how spirit remembers what the mind cannot. There is a letter. It is handwritten. It carries both a promise and a plan. Not a contract signed with ink, but a spiritual agreement sealed with weight. Inside that letter is not just an invitation, it's an activation, a shift into the version of you that was always waiting to be released. They are not summoning you to follow. They are inviting you to build, to lead, to rise. You will not be one of many. You are the one their mission has been waiting for, the one heaven whispered about, the one whose voice carries the frequency they've been searching for in every crowd, every corner, every silence. The meeting room is already being prepared. The air in that space will feel strange to others, but familiar to you, as if you've been there before in a dream you forgot you had. That's because this moment was written in your soul before your first breath. And now, it is waking up. Don't be surprised when your environment starts shifting. People acting out, doors closing suddenly, time moving oddly. It's not disruption, it's alignment. The old must make space for the new. What you're walking into cannot fit inside the framework of your former life, and that's the proof you've arrived at the threshold. They are ready, and now, so are you. You've questioned the silence. You've wondered why the doors didn't open when you knocked, why the people you trusted faded without explanation, why the heavens felt quiet when you needed answers most. But what you called delay was never denial, and what felt like rejection was never personal. It was protection divinely orchestrated, precisely timed, and deeply necessary. You were not being hidden to be forgotten. You were being hidden to be formed, to be shaped in places where applause couldn't reach you and critics couldn't distract you. The silence was sacred ground, a classroom where only heaven could speak and only your spirit could understand. As C.S. Lewis wrote in Mere Christianity, "It may be hard for an egg to turn into a bird. It would be a jolly sight harder for it to learn to fly while remaining an egg. We are like eggs at present, and you cannot go on indefinitely being just an ordinary, decent egg. We must be hatched or go bad. You, chosen one, have been hatching in the silence, transformed in the hidden places for the divine purpose now unfolding. That's why others didn't see your growth. That's why your rise wasn't loud, because real preparation happens in silence, not in spotlight, but in stillness. Every time you felt overlooked, you were actually being preserved. Every time you thought you had missed your moment, heaven was building the foundation beneath your feet. You were never behind. You were being timed with eternity. And now that timing is here. The one who has been searching for you understands this. They too have walked through silence. They too have felt the ache of unseen sacrifice. That's why they recognize you not by your words, but by your posture, by the weight you carry quietly, by the way you walk into rooms without needing to dominate them, and yet everything shifts when you arrive. They're not drawn to your performance, they're drawn to your presence, because you carry something rare, the ability to remain anchored while everything around you trembles. And that kind of strength is not taught in crowds, it's formed in caves. That's why the silence had to be long. That's why the pain had to be real. Because what's coming requires more than gifting. It requires gravity. And now, you have both. You will soon notice people treating you differently. Some will act unusually kind. Others will turn cold without warning. Let them. Your emergence is revealing things that were once hidden. Not because you've changed, but because they can no longer deny what you carry. You are no longer becoming. You are arriving. And the silence that once covered you will soon be the silence that surrounds others when they see what heaven preserved while the world wasn't watching. Do not wait for others to validate what heaven has already confirmed. The ones around you may not understand this shift. Some will call it strange, others will label it coincidence. But this is not for them to interpret. This is between your spirit and the one who wrote your name into this unfolding hour. The confirmation you've been longing for will not come through applause, titles, or reassurance. It will come through presence, divine presence that makes everything inside you go still. It will come in the form of a moment you can't explain, a sudden knowing, a pulse of peace that doesn't match your surroundings. You may feel lightheaded, or as if time has paused. You may walk into a room and feel as though you've stepped into a dream you didn't know you remembered. These are not tricks of the mind. They are spiritual markers, proof that the veil has lifted and the hour has come. There will be a sign, perhaps a repeated number, a word overheard that matches a hidden prayer, a glimmer of light at just the right moment. Don't overanalyze it. Just breathe and recognize. Your name is being spoken in realms you cannot yet see. The one searching for you has already received their own confirmation. That is why they are moving now. That is why they are coming to you not with fanfare, but with purpose. Their approach may be quiet, but their intention is unshakable. And when they find you, they won't come with flattery. They will come with clarity. They will speak something you never shared, but something that lives in the depths of you. When they do, don't panic. It's not invasion, it's recognition. This is not the kind of connection built on charm or need. It is the alignment of two prepared vessels, one holding the key, the other carrying the lock. They are not your savior, and you are not their answer. But together, a sacred assignment is activated. That's why you've been protected. That's why the attacks didn't work. That's why the heartbreak didn't destroy you. because your presence was needed intact for this exact moment. And now, confirmation is arriving not as permission, but as fulfillment. What was promised is unfolding. What was sealed is being opened. Do not expect the world to understand. Just expect your soul to respond, because it will. And when it does, you'll know this is it. You are not walking into chance. You are walking into design. This next place, this room, this encounter, this assignment has been prepared long before your name was ever spoken by earthly lips. It is not new, it is ancient. And you were always meant to arrive here, at this exact hour, in this exact condition, refined, alert, surrendered, and ready. There is a room, both physical and spiritual, where your name has already been whispered, not as a hope, but as a certainty. Others may not know why they feel compelled to prepare space for you, but they will feel it. The atmosphere will shift before you even speak. The very air will feel charged, as if it was waiting for you to arrive. That's because it was. This room is more than a location. It is an assignment. It holds people, decisions, and directions that cannot be released until you step in. You will not need to force open any doors. The doors have already been loosened from the inside. What is required of you now is alignment, true, quiet, unshakable alignment. Your posture is your agreement. The way you walk, the way you listen, the way you hold your peace, that is what opens access to what others could not enter, no matter how loud they knocked. The one who has been seeking you has made arrangements behind the veil. Their hands may seem steady, but they are carrying urgency. They've been instructed not to delay any longer, because their delay has begun to create turbulence both in their world and yours. Your name has surfaced in places it wasn't expected to appear. People who weren't supposed to know you are beginning to sense something. That's how heaven confirms its time. It removes the hiding. It reveals the key. You won't arrive to applause. You'll arrive to wait. A spiritual weight will settle on your shoulders, not to crush you, but to announce that you have crossed the threshold. You may feel pressure. You may feel heat in your chest, your hands, your spine. That is not fear. That is authority activating. That is spiritual memory waking up. Do not be distracted by the unfamiliar. The setting may feel strange, but the resonance will be clear. You've dreamed pieces of this. You've seen glimpses. You've heard echoes. And now, the full scene is unfolding. You are not late. You are not lost. You are not guessing. You are walking into what was waiting for you before time began. So enter, chosen one, not with fear, but with the quiet fire of someone who finally remembers why they were sent. What is unfolding now is not just a breakthrough, it is a bloodline shift, a spiritual transaction written in a language your soul has always known, even when your mind could not translate it. You are not just being given a moment, you are being handed something far older, far deeper, and far more permanent. This is inheritance. You have waited, endured, and survived things meant to silence you. You've walked through the desert of confusion, through seasons where your prayers echoed with no reply, and yet you remained, not perfectly, but faithfully. You didn't beg for the crown. You carried the weight. You didn't chase applause. You stayed anchored through the storm. That is why this isn't a promotion. It's a confirmation of who you've always been. There is something ancient resting on your life. Others may have sensed it but couldn't define it. That's because it wasn't meant for them to name. It was meant for heaven to reveal. And now heaven has. The one who is coming to find you has been entrusted with a key not to open you, but to awaken what was already alive inside you. They do not come to impress. They come to transfer. Not wealth alone, but responsibility. Not fame, but favor that carries divine assignment. This is why you had to lose certain people. Why some relationships collapsed without warning. Why certain circles could never hold your weight. Because what you carry was never meant to be cradled in fragile places. You are not too much. You are too exact, too appointed, too significant to be squeezed into the mold of mediocrity. This inheritance will not look like the world's idea of success. It will be quiet power, sacred influence, open doors that no one can explain. People will look at you differently, not because you've changed your clothes or your language, but because your light is no longer veiled. The realm around you will respond first, then the people, then the systems. It will happen in that order. And when it begins, you must remember this. You didn't earn this by striving. You were born for it, chosen before the soil knew your name. This is legacy rising through your breath, and everything that tried to bury you will now testify to the fact that it couldn't. You don't need to prove anything. You only need to carry it. The throne was never vacant, it was waiting. And now, it's your time to sit. You will not need to announce yourself. Your presence will do what your words never could. The atmosphere will shift the moment you enter, not because of what you say, but because of what you carry. You walk with something ancient, something weighty, something that cannot be imitated or explained. It moves before you, it follows behind you, and it rests upon you like a seal that heaven itself placed there. You may have grown used to entering rooms unnoticed. That season is over. From now on, the space around you will feel different, charged, alert, reverent, because something divine will begin to stir when you arrive. Even those who don't believe in such things will pause. They will feel it in their chest, a stillness they cannot name. Some will be drawn to you. Others will feel discomfort. Let both be. Do not shrink when it happens. Do not apologize for the weight of your calling. You were not fashioned for comfort. You were fashioned to carry presence. And presence is disruptive by nature. It exposes. It purifies. It commands. You were hidden for so long because your spirit was being prepared to carry this kind of responsibility without pride and this kind of power without corruption. You will know you've entered the right room when the energy meets you like a wave. It won't be loud, it won't be dramatic, but your body will recognize it. A quiet tension will fill the air, not of fear, but of divine anticipation. That's how you'll know the meeting has begun. That's how you'll know the assignment is active. This person, this divine connection, has been waiting for this moment too. They don't want to be impressed. They want to be met. They are not looking for a follower. They are looking for a mirror, someone who has been through fire, someone who carries silence like a weapon, someone whose eyes have seen too much and still burn with clarity. That someone is you. You won't need to perform. You won't need to explain your journey. They will already know. Not all of it, but enough to recognize you. And when your eyes meet, you will feel it. Not the excitement of flattery, but the gravity of a contract being fulfilled. The atmosphere will witness what your lips will barely speak, because this is not a business deal. This is divine alignment. This is legacy echoing through flesh. And once it begins, you'll never be the same. Neither will they. This isn't a debut. It's a revealing. You are not stepping into something new. You are stepping into what has always been yours, but was hidden until now. Heaven never forgot your name. The earth simply wasn't ready to see it. But now, both realms are in agreement. The unveiling has begun. You will not be introduced to the world in noise, but in knowing. Not through fanfare, but through undeniable alignment. What is being revealed is not your image, it's your essence. The parts of you that were forged in silence, refined in pressure, and made holy in hiddenness. You are not showing up as a version of yourself tailored for approval. You are showing up as what was written from the beginning. This is why your timing was different, why others ran ahead while you stayed still, why the route you took seemed longer, lonelier, more costly. Because you weren't being prepared to be seen, you were being prepared to be recognized. And recognition requires authenticity. Heaven could not release you until your identity was no longer tangled with survival. You had to learn who you were without the crowd, without the title, without the applause. That's why your process hurt the way it did. It was never punishment. It was protection. Now, your revealing is not for display. It is for assignment. You will be seen not to be admired, but to be positioned. The eyes that fall on you now have been divinely selected. Some will celebrate, others will retreat, but none will be able to deny that something has shifted. There will be a moment when someone says something you've never shared aloud. They will describe a dream you thought was too sacred to speak. When that moment comes, stay still. That is not a coincidence, it is spiritual recognition, a coded confirmation that you are no longer hidden, that the veil has lifted. You are not entering this moment alone. You are being escorted by angels, by prayer, by ancestral intercession. The spiritual realm has already moved. The natural world is now catching up. The weight you feel in your chest, that's not anxiety. That's the gravity of destiny settling into place. You are not arriving late. You are being revealed on time. And this time, nothing will cover you again. The final seal is no longer waiting to be broken. It has already begun to move. In the unseen realm, something irreversible has shifted. This moment is not being prepared. It is already here. And as you read these words, a holy countdown is unfolding not by minutes, but by movements in spirit. Every breath you take, every thought you align, every silent decision you make is pulling you closer to a divine collision that cannot be stopped. This seal was not placed by man. It was not signed by a government or a name on paper. It was written in eternity, pressed into time, and hidden until now. And what it covers is weightier than any title, heavier than any crown. It protects the moment when destiny must meet obedience. And you, yes, you are the one who stands at the center of that meeting. You've already felt the weight of it, the strange pressure in your body, the way your sleep has changed, the restlessness that refuses to explain itself. That is not confusion. That is the final seal unlocking. What was closed is opening, and what was waiting for your agreement is now demanding your attention. There is no need for panic, but there is an urgency that cannot be ignored. Because this kind of seal, once opened, ushers in transformation that does not wait for your convenience. It moves with divine timing, and those who hesitate risk missing what was made for them. But you will not miss it. You have been too prepared, too refined, too awakened by fire to fall asleep now. There will be a sound, a moment, a message that arrives soon. It may come quietly disguised as an interruption, a delay, a strange encounter, but beneath its surface will be the echo of something sacred. You will feel it in your bones. Your body will respond before your mind understands. That is your confirmation. That is the sign you are walking into the place prepared for your name. This is no longer about potential. This is about activation. You are not being asked to hope. You are being summoned to move. The final seal is no longer a prophecy. It is reality. And the moment it opens fully, your life will not just change, it will never be able to return to what it was before. Before the two of you ever walked the same ground, before your names were ever whispered in the same breath, this union was already written in the spirit, not as a romantic tale, but as a divine collaboration, one that carries weight, one that alters history. What is unfolding now is not a meeting of strangers. It is the convergence of assignments, the alignment of two souls marked by heaven to activate something no one else could complete. This person whose search has led them to your name was never guided by curiosity. They were led by instruction. Their life carries spiritual consequence, and yet they've known deep down that their mission would remain incomplete until it intersected with yours. Not because they lack power, but because the authority on your life unlocks a realm they could not enter alone. They have fought battles you don't know about. They've paid prices in silence, wept through nights with no comfort, and still remained loyal to the call. That's why they recognized your silence. That's why they felt the fire in you even before the meeting. Because like recognizes like, spirit calls to spirit. And what they saw in you was not potential, it was purpose. The same purpose they carry. This union is not for comfort, it is for construction. There is something that must be built through the two of you, something larger than either of your names, something older than your pain, something heavier than your fears. You were both prepared through fire to hold it. And now, the blueprint is being released. You may feel nervous, that's natural, but beneath that nervousness, there will be a strange stillness, a knowing, a click in your soul that cannot be faked or reasoned away. That stillness is the sound of recognition. Not just between two people, but between two assignments, meeting again after centuries of separation. They will not speak in riddles. They will speak in clarity. Their eyes will tell you everything you need to know, that they've carried this burden, this vision, this calling, waiting for the day heaven said, now, that day is here. This is more than a meeting. This is the unveiling of a joint assignment, and the world may never fully understand it. But heaven will echo with the sound of its activation. You were not created to walk this path alone, and now you don't have to. Not everyone will celebrate what's coming, and you must be ready for that. When heaven reveals favor, it also reveals jealousy. When light breaks through, shadows scatter, and some will try to cling to you, not out of love, but out of fear that they no longer have access to your light. Do not be surprised. Do not be distracted. The shift on your life will stir both wonder and warfare. But make no mistake, what has been sealed for you cannot be undone by their words, their doubts, or their spiritual immaturity. They did not anoint you. They cannot revoke you. They did not guard your soul in the wilderness. They do not hold the authority to delay your rising. Their jealousy is loud because their time in your story is ending, and they feel it, even if they can't explain it. There will be people who once called you friend, who now grow cold. Some will try to disguise their discomfort as concern. Others will try to speak wisdom over your movement, hoping you'll question yourself long enough to miss the moment. Don't fall for it. Discernment is not paranoia, but it is precision, and you've been sharpened long enough to recognize who carries real honor and who only clapped for you when you were beneath them. You are rising now, quietly, divinely. And no counterfeit connection, no emotional manipulation, no spiritual envy can override what has already been written in heaven's archives. The person seeking you knows this. They've already dealt with their own circle of betrayal. That's why they move in silence. That's why they guard your name. You are not being asked to retaliate or explain. You are being asked to preserve your peace, to keep your gates clean, to walk with dignity while heaven makes your vindication public. Because it will. Those who tried to expose you will be exposed by their own motives. Those who gossiped about your delay will have to witness your appointment. And still, you will remain silent, because the kind of power on your life doesn't scream, it establishes. So let them whisper, let them wonder, let them watch, but remember this, they cannot curse what God has sealed, and you are sealed. There will be a moment sudden, quiet, holy, when a choice is placed before you. It won't arrive with flashing signs or thunder from the sky. It will come simply, maybe even gently. But do not be deceived by its softness. It will carry the weight of your next season, and you will know it when it comes. This choice will not come with fear, because you've already outgrown the fear that once made you shrink. It won't come with confusion, because clarity is your companion now. What this choice requires is not perfection, but presence. All of you sober, steady, spiritually alert, and you will be ready. You are already more prepared than you realize. You won't need to ask anyone else what to do. You won't need confirmation from those who never understood your calling in the first place, because the answer will rise from within your own spirit, and it will rise with power not loud, but firm, not anxious, but certain, the kind of certainty that can only be born through fire. You may feel the trembling just before it comes, not because you're afraid, but because something ancient is being activated inside you. The same trembling Moses felt at the burning bush, the same tension Esther carried when she stepped before the king. It is the holy trembling of someone who knows they are standing on sacred ground. This choice will not ask you to strive. It will ask you to trust. It will ask you to step into a place where the old version of you cannot follow. And that's how you'll know it's divine. It will require transformation, not performance. You are not being tested, you are being trusted. Trusted with legacy, trusted with responsibility, trusted to say yes to what others were too fearful to carry. You will not crumble, you will not run, you will rise. And when you do, heaven will respond. Because your choice is not just about you, it is about every life connected to your obedience. And this time, the choice you make won't just shift your path. It will open the gate for generations. You were never born to fit in. You were born to carry what others were too afraid to touch. The burden, the beauty, the blueprint, the fire. It has always rested on you quietly, heavily, intentionally. And now, it's time to carry it out loud. This is why your path has never matched the timelines of others. Why your detours were divine. Why every delay in your life was secretly an alignment in disguise. Because what you were born to carry is not common. It is holy. It required stripping, humbling, reshaping. It required heaven to hide you long enough that no one could steal what hadn't yet been secured. What you carry now is not just a calling. It's a covenant, a sacred charge that didn't begin with you and won't end with you. It's the fulfillment of whispered prayers from those who came before you, the ones who bled in silence, the ones who dreamed in chains, the ones who saw glimpses of a future they would never walk into. You are walking into it now. The person who's coming to you knows what you carry. They've felt the weight of it from afar, and they were told, clearly, do not move until the vessel is ready. That vessel is you, and now heaven has confirmed you are ready. There is no need to apologize for your fire, no need to dilute your discernment or minimize your vision. You were not sent to echo, you were sent to establish. What you bring cannot be outsourced, what you carry cannot be substituted. You are not a backup plan. You are the appointed one. When the moment comes, you will feel it in your bones. Not pressure, but purpose. Not heaviness, but authority. The wind will shift, the light will feel different, and without needing permission, you will know, this is what I was born to carry. Others may stare, some will question, but your soul will be at peace, because for the first time in a long time, your feet will be standing on ground your spirit already knows. This is not ambition. This is assignment, and you were made for it. You won't have to second-guess the moment. You won't need signs stacked upon signs. When it happens, you will know not with your mind, but with something deeper. Your spirit will stand still, your breath will catch, and a holy quiet will fill the space around you. It won't look dramatic to everyone else. It might even seem ordinary. A knock, a message, a glance, a sudden warmth on your skin. But something in the atmosphere will shift, and your soul will recognize the signal. The light will feel different. The air will carry weight. And the part of you that's always been waiting will say, this is it. You may not have all the answers in that moment, but you'll have something stronger. Divine clarity. It will bypass logic. It will silence fear. The years you spent searching will collapse into seconds of recognition. All the tears,